I know there's some people that are happy going to an office, working a 9 to 5, getting a base salary. If that's you, stay like that. Don't change. If you're someone that wants to be able to work remote, live remote, travel and work at the same time, then there's ways to jump into being a closer or setter on high ticket offers. But remember, it's commission based only. The best way to actually be interesting is by being interested. And what that means is you don't need to speak so much. Whenever someone's talking, just be curious and keep digging, keep asking them questions. And the more you ask, the deeper they're going to go. And even if you're not speaking too much, they're going to walk away and think, wow, that Joel, he was so interesting. Any business that's asking you for money up front, do not do it. There's no reason why you need to spend your own money to get onto an offer and then provide you leads. I've never heard of that.
Welcome back to the SDR Hire podcast. I'm your host, Stefan, and if you're new to the channel, we usually talk about B2B tech sales, but today we have something completely different for you. So I have the biggest pleasure to host Joel Elster. He's one of the founders of the famous Nomadic Closer Community, which is a community of high-ticket appointment setters and closers who are basically helping businesses and business owners simplify their sales process and eventually make more money. And unlike our usual talk track about SDRs, BDRs, account executives, promotions, cold calls, cold emails, LinkedIn outreach, and everything else in tech sales, I wanted to introduce you guys all to a concept that you might not be familiar with, which is the world of high-ticket commission-based closing. So with that, Joel, welcome to the SDR Hire podcast, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. It's a massive pleasure.
Maybe you can give the audience a little bit of context. Who are you? Where do you come from? And what do you do right now?
Sure. My name's Joel Elster. Our company's called Nomadic Closer. Just a quick overview of what we actually do. We have a few different departments. One, we have a community where we teach people how they can work remote by being an SDR or a closer, all remote. We help them get jobs as well. There are also companies that come to us, hey, listen, I don't really want to run a sales team anymore. Can you guys come and run the sales team for us? So we come in as a growth partner where we have our own SDRs, our own closers, our own managers, and we just take over the whole sales part for them. And on top of that as well, because we've been in the industry for quite some time, we also have a M&A business where we buy and sell online businesses. So that is purely to be an investor types. So a lot of people get confused where they think, if I just learn a script, I can speak to everyone. But it's not the case, right? You have to really know your avatar. You have to know if you're talking to B2C, B2B, or an investor. The body language, the tonality, the way you approach things has to change. And then also a bit about me and my sales career. Over the last 5 years, I've sold just over now $13 million. And that is from B2C all the way to B2B.
That's really impressive, man. And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the call here and do an interview with you in that direction. What kind of sales have you done in your career? And like, how did you end up in this spot right here? How has your career looked like so far to be able to do M&A deals and have a community and build sales teams for other companies? That's super impressive. And how did you end up in this role?
It's a great question. I'm going to go back when I was 15.
All right.
We're going to go way back because what happened with me, I actually moved to Spain when I was 4 and I had a really bad speech impediment. I had a stutter until the age of 15.
Interesting.
And I didn't want to communicate. I didn't want to socialize. I was really shy. And then my first job at the age of 15 was working on a beach club. And it was a great beach club, Nikki Beach. Maybe some of you guys know Nikki Beach. It was back in Spain in Marbella. And I was just a runner at the time, running drinks to tables. And there was this one guy that just kept coming to the beach. He was like super alpha, super friendly, always giving load of tips to all the staff. And sometimes he tried to have a conversation with me. And I had this small little stutter. And he said, Joel, I used to be exactly like you. I had a bad speech impediment. I couldn't speak. So what I actually did, I learned how to communicate. I learned how to slow down the way that I speak. If I slow down the way that I speak, it helps me think a bit more. The people that I'm speaking to get to listen to what I'm saying, and they listen to every single thing that I'm saying. So he actually became my mentor for a couple of years, and he taught me how to completely get rid of my stutter, how to get into uncomfortable situations, to practice rejection, to practice getting uncomfortable. And he also taught me about how to understand body language and human behavior, how you can actually influence someone by asking them certain questions. And one of the biggest things and the biggest takeaways I got from him, he said, Joe, the best way to actually be interesting is by being interested. And what that means is you don't need to speak so much. Whenever someone's talking, just be curious and keep digging, keep asking them questions. And the more you ask, the deeper they're going to go. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not speaking too much, they're going to walk away and think, wow, that Joel, he was so interesting. But in reality, I didn't speak about myself. I just got someone to speak about themselves, and everyone likes speaking about themselves. So that's how I started to get into sales, where I started working on beach clubs. I was there for 10 years. And the way I made money was selling bottles of champagne, bottles of alcohol, and I was on commission. So the more I sold, the more I made. And it was just a whole understanding of what someone was looking for and provided that experience for them.
Nice. So that's basically a cooler version of door-to-door sales, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where you got your flip-flops, your shorts, your t-shirt, you're in the sun all day. Awesome. So yeah, I did that for about 10 years. And that was the time of my life. Then from there, I got invited over to Dubai when I was 26 to open a nightclub. And then when I got to Dubai, it was a completely different game. People had more money than sense. So it's okay. But at the same time, there's also a lot of clubs. So how could we be different? How could we bring other people into our club? So then we started coming up with different strategies to collaborate.
All right.
And what that means, and I think a lot of sales reps these days, is they forget the importance of network, collaborating, affiliates, and so forth. So just an example, what we did is we came up with a solution where if we go to all the top hotels and we speak to the concierge, we're like, hey, here's an upfront payment. Anyone that asks you what club to go to, send them to us with your name, and I'm going to give you commission. And again, that works through my whole sales career. Whatever I'm selling, I'm like, hey, this is what I do. If you know anyone that needs this, all you need to do is give me an intro and I'll be able to help. Yeah. Again, everything that I've done through my career has just been like, okay, I can use that in this industry. Then at the age of 30, I left Dubai, decided to go back to the UK. I had 17 restaurants. I had a vegan meat factory creating vegan meats. COVID came. Wiped me out, massively in debt, Oof. Bankruptcy, the whole lot. So that was the time where it was like, shit.
Yeah.
I've got to a point in my life where I've had everything I've ever wanted, the house, the cars, the watch, you name it. And now I'm 30 and I'm living back with mum and dad. Like, yeah, what's happened? Like, I didn't get it. So I thought, well, now's the time to try and get into the online world because I just want to travel. I want to move around. I want to find a job where I can work online, but what can I do? And I started doing a lot of research. I bought into a marketing academy, so to have my marketing agency. Did that, and it was like the worst time of my life. Like, having a marketing agency, dealing with fulfillment, I'm like, I'm not built to do fulfillment. I like talking to people. I like finding problems. I like solving problems. So I did the part of speaking to clients, but I didn't like the fulfillment. And during that time, I still didn't really know the whole high ticket world of sales. And a friend of mine said to me, Joe, I've got a friend. He's got a YouTube channel and he sells dating coaching for men who don't know how to use Tinder. And I was like, this could be quite funny. Let's give it a try. I jumped on the offer, had no script, no idea what I was doing. And in the first month, I made $3,000. And I'm like, you know what? This is actually quite fun. I'm talking to people, I'm doing it over Zoom, and I've just made $3,000 remote. Like, I've never thought I could do that. And then I started looking into high ticket closers, and I found a course. And at the time, and this is something I'll never forget, at that point, I was £26,000 in debt. So just over $30,000 in debt. And I wanted to buy into a course. This course was $10,000. And I'm like, I've only made like $3,000. It's my first month, but I know if I have the right skills, I can make a lot more.
That's right.
So there was one closer on this offer that that tried to close me into the academy.
Uh-huh.
He said, Joel, put the money aside for a second. Do you feel like what we spoke about here can help you make more money and get to where you want to go? 100%. We went through a couple of objections, and he said, Joel, would you be open if we go through and look at your financial situation to see if we can come up with any solutions? Mm-hmm. Sure. He said, have you ever thought about getting into more debt to get out of debt faster? I said, what, you stupid? No, why would I ever do that? He said, if there was a way to go into more debt, to get out of debt faster, would you be open to have that conversation? I was like, well, yeah. Long story short, he guided me through how I could actually come up with the funds, invest. Long story short, from being now approximately $40,000 in debt, I got out of debt in 3.5 months after investing. It was the biggest game changer that I could ever dream for. But it only happens because someone was smart enough who could guide me through how I could be successful rather than slapping me around trying to push a product and just looking after the sale, rather than really trying to guide me and understand my situation and have compassion. So that's how I landed in the whole high ticket closing world. And then through that, I saw that there was many good offers and bad offers, and there was closers making investments into their sales career, but they were jumping on bad offers, or there was good offers with bad closers. So I wanted to fix that gap. Uh-huh. So that's how Nomadic Closer appeared, is helping people live remote while making money and helping businesses make money while working remote as well. So that's the long story short. I tried to say it as fast as I could.
No, it's awesome. And it's a very inspiring story, to be fair, especially where you actually had the guts to get actually into more debt, in spite of the fact that you were already pretty significantly in debt, as well as you took a very big blow. And I can imagine that business was significantly big after having, what did you say, 17 restaurants? So that must have been a huge blow to your, I don't know, has it been, like, to your self-esteem?
Oh, massively.
It would have. I would probably feel extremely crushed, like you do.
So, yes, I thought, wow, I've just lost my whole business. I've moved back in with my mum and dad, and I remember my mum said something that was really inspiring. She said, "Joel, after everything you've been through, you've not once laid in bed, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? You just thought, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Okay." And she always says something. She says, we're so fortunate to be able to have many chapters in our lives. It's like a book. We open a book. How boring would it be if we open a book and there's just one chapter and that's your life? Yeah. She said, you're blessed. You've gone through a chapter. You've passed the page. That's now gone. That's in the past. What's on the next chapter? Yeah. Move on. And that really inspires me. That's
so impressive and so precious. It's so awesome that you had somebody really pushing you and giving you that wind in the back to keep going. And kudos to that sales guy who found a way to push you over the edge and how did you actually get across, like, how did you make $40,000 in 3 months?
So I jumped on 2 different offers. So one offer, it was on a $5,000 offer. And the other one was, they had 3 offers. It was $10,000, $20,000 and $60,000.
Gotcha.
And I was making between 5 to 10% commission.
Okay.
Depending on what I sold.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's pretend that nobody understands what high ticket actually means. And I bet there's 90% of people who don't really know. So
amazing.
What is it? What are the components? And you keep mentioning bad offers, good offers. What is even an offer? So maybe you can walk us through that.
Let's do it. I'm going to give you this example.
All right.
So guys, imagine if you're on Instagram and you're just scrolling and all of a sudden you see an ad and this ad says, hey, have you ever thought about living location free? Click on this button and I'll show you how. So you're like, yeah. You click on the button and it goes to a landing page. On that landing page, there's a VSL, which is a video sales letter. And on there is the influencer saying, hey guys, I want to show you how I live location free, drinking a coconut in Bali. If you want to be like this, hear me. I want to show you how you can create your marketing agency. I want to show you how you can learn how to be a remote salesperson, whatever they're selling. If you want to be a spiritual leader, a yoga teacher, listen up. You're like, I'm listening. So you're listening and they're like, if you want to start making minimum 10,000 a month, do this. If you want more information, you understand roughly how it works, book a call with me. So then what they do, they book a call. That call, it doesn't get booked by the influencer. You don't speak to that person. You speak to an SDR, you speak to a setter. That setter is then going to pre-qualify you. And then if they think that you're a good candidate, they're then going to book you again onto a closer's calendar. Now, the closer is then going to go through a list of questions, figuring out a bit about you, what you're doing, what you've tried in the past, what you're looking for, how would that life look like, what if it doesn't happen. Once they have the information that they need, they're going to take that information and then they're going to build a presentation that sounds exactly what you're looking for. Now, if you have the right training, you don't have the same boring old presentation that everyone shows. You customize it in your head where you're like, this person says, I'm going to use their words and I'm going to build it with the words that they said, because it's literally impossible for them to say, I'm not looking for that, because they've told you that's exactly what they're looking for. So you've done the presentation. And then after, how do you feel? This is exactly what I want. How do you want to move forward? You sign them up. So then, depending on how much the product is, it could be 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand. You generally get 10% commission. There is no base. It's commission-based closers, commission-based sales reps. So it's unlimited of how much you can really make. But you've also got the offer side, which sometimes you get on an offer and the ad account gets shut down, so they can't do the ads where people see the ads. So you're like, okay, what do I do now? Sometimes the business owner grows too fast and they can't deal with fulfillment. So when you are jumping onto these offers, it's very important to understand and ask these questions to the business owner. What type of marketing channels do you have? What if they shut down? What happens then? How do I generate leads? So there are a few questions. It's like they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them, because you don't want to waste your time, especially being on commission-based only.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me make a quick parallel with, let's say, the traditional tech sales funnel, where obviously you guys are doing lead gen, where you're running ads, and then interested people are raising hands, booking meetings based on a lead magnet or based on a VSL that kind of sold them on the idea of something, whatever. And then the setter, the SDR, the appointment setter, is basically there to pick up, qualify the person, and then decide whether that person should actually proceed to the second call, which is with the closer, who then tries to sell them whatever the program is. And I assume those products are usually like coaching or high ticket courses, or I don't know, master classes, mentorships, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it could also be higher ticket. It could be software, because we have a lot of people that are in software. We also have clients that are in real estate. So we've even sold offers where it's selling glamping tents in Indonesia, or houses in Mexico.
I see.
So it doesn't particularly have to be low ticket. There are higher tickets. It's unlimited of what the offers can be.
I like it. Okay. And then, so in that funnel, when we compare it to that traditional B2B tech sales funnel, it's like the BDR, the SDR, whatever you want to call it, is actually creating that top of funnel activities, doing cold calls, sending cold emails, DMing people on LinkedIn, creating potential opportunities where they're like booking meetings, qualifying those meetings, and then handing them off to account executives, who then push the sales through the funnel and hopefully close them, and then hand them off to account managers or customer success people. And so, is that a fair comparison of these two funnels?
Pretty much. The interesting thing is, some of the best setters come from cold callers. So if you're used to just jumping on a phone, doing lots of calls, doing lots of outbound, you've got more chance of being successful than someone that's just bought a course and waiting for some inbound leads. And what some of the top guys do as well, they understand, hey, if the business owner is paying for ads, I'm waiting for those leads to see the ad, go through the funnel, then it gets to me. I can only make so much money. Mm-hmm. What can I do to outsource my own leads? How can I find my own clients to then make more commission, because the business owner's saved from investing into ads and you've brought it in organically? So then you can make more money if you are smart enough to figure out different ways to bring in clients yourself.
Huh. So you're saying, in addition to the ads that the business owner is running that are coming in, the closer can call people themselves or maybe run their own ads or something like that. Is that what you're saying? Interesting.
That's what the smart ones do.
I see. Okay.
And that would be like the top 1%.
I can imagine. And so who makes more money? Is it the setter? Is it the closer? Is it the same? How does that work?
If the setter is setting for just one closer, then the closer make more money. But in general, if the setter is setting for maybe 4 different closers, then a setter could potentially make more money.
Okay.
So a realistic world, the closer does make more money because the closer's on 10%, a setter's on 5%. So a setter only really has so much time during the day and really wants to send the best leads to the closer that knows that they're going to close. Because there's no deal if the closer doesn't close the deals that you set. So in an ideal world, yes, you make more money as a closer, but in reality, not everyone should be a closer. And I have this argument on a regular basis. There are some people that are good at openers, some good at closers. Don't get me wrong. I've made good amounts of money as a closer. Now I've got to the stage in my business where I'm not a closer anymore. I'm the opener. I go out, I network, I socialize, and I bring deals to the table, and then I pass it to my team to close. So it just depends what you like. Do you like being the opener or the closer?
That's so interesting because we can literally compare it exactly to the SDR account executive relationship, where usually, like, the usual career path is, okay, I'm going to land an SDR role. I'm going to be in the trenches for some time doing cold calls, whatever. And then I'm going to transition into an account executive role where I'm going to make the real money. But then it often happens that some people are extremely better at actually doing cold calls or sending cold emails and booking those initial meetings versus closing. And it's a different set of skills, at least from my experience in tech sales. I can assume it's the same way over there. And you're saying that SDRs, so people doing cold calls, and are doing better as setters than folks who just, paid for $1,000 course and just first time that they came across this concept. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they realize how valuable the leads are.
Yeah.
So if you live in a luxury world where you're there with your hands out, you're like, please, sir, can I have some leads? They give you leads and you don't close one. They're like, oh, I'll just wait for more leads.
Yeah.
And this is one of the annoying things in the industry where there's privileged setters.
Yeah.
If you have people that come from finding their own leads, doing their own outbound, cold calling, they're like, I know the value of this lead. I'm going to work the lead. If it doesn't answer me, I'm going to do my follow-ups. If it doesn't answer again, I'm going to follow up again.
Interesting. Here's a comparison that I personally, because I come from the world of like pure outbound sales,
nice,
cold emails, cold calling, like you name it. And I didn't even understand the concept of somebody is coming in and saying, I want to buy your stuff. And I'm like, so what's your job then? And like to close them. And I'm like, yeah, but they want to buy. Like, so the concept itself, and to your point, for me, I just felt like inbound leads were a cheat code. I don't have to do anything. I just have to just give them that. And yeah, I think that SDRs who have done pure outbound really understand the value of a lead that is actually interested and has intent to buy to an extent. So I think that's super precious. And I love that we made this parallel. Awesome. And so why don't you tell us a little bit more about your community? So are you teaching people how to become setters, closers? And also, it's interesting because I can assume people can find offers, find business owners who are running these funnels themselves, and then try and be their setters and closers. But on the other hand, I can also assume that, as you said, there are different types of offers, different types of business owners. And so what is your role in, like you said, finding these opportunities? How do you vet a good opportunity? How do you recognize a good offer versus a bad one up front before you invest time and money in working with these people?
Oh, it took us a long time to actually understand it. So when we first started the whole recruitment side 2.5 years ago, we were onboarding as many clients as possible to understand what we were looking for and what we weren't looking for. So we thought we were helping people, but in reality at the beginning, it wasn't helping people. But what it did help, it helps people now that we actually understand. So let me go step by step. When we actually finding businesses need to fill in an application form, and there's 26 questions on the application form. So when they go through the application form, it's questions such as how long they've been in business, what's the revenue, how much they're looking to make, what's the close rate, what's the show rate. So it's pretty into depth. Then we do an audit on the funnel. We do a mystery call as well to listen to their current sales process. Then we decide to go ahead, okay, we're going to publish the job in our community. And then we have SDRs, setters, and closers in that community that can then go ahead and reach out. So that's on like the business side of how we vet businesses. And as we have a name in the industry now, we have a lot of businesses come to us. And it's a shame how many businesses, I don't want to use the word, but we reject. But at the same time, that's given us another business opportunity to help them grow to the point. So then we have our consulting. In the community, we have a community called the Nomadic Closer Community. And the first thing that we have in there, first of all, it's called Nomadic. So we have a nomadic map. And this map, once you're in the community, you can place exactly where you are in the world. You see the map and you just see loads of dots of closers and setters around the world. And you can actually click on their name, you can have a conversation, and you can go for a coffee with them. You can meet face to face, because working online can be quite lonely. So that's why we've created this community where as a closer and a setter, you're working at home or behind a computer screen all day, and you forget to socialize. You forget to see people face to face. And when you do, you're like, oh shit, I forgot how to communicate. I'm so used to communicating over Zoom. How do I approach people? Yeah. So that's why we've made the map. Inside the community, we have a few different parts. One, it's similar to Facebook. So I don't know if you guys have heard of School. We use School. The second thing we have is classrooms in there. So we have lots of different sections for personal development. We have B2C sales, B2B sales. We have how to network, body language, tonality, how to land jobs, how to prepare. So all the trainings in there. But then we also post the jobs in there. I think one of the most important things as well, though, is actually being prepared to get on these interviews. Now, don't just rely on jobs being posted in the community. We teach you how you can actually be a master networker. Because although we post on a daily basis new offers, all the top offers, we go and headhunt the right closer or setter. Even though if they're in the community, we know, I know this guy's on another offer. Let's go approach him and give him the other offer. But how do you find these guys? They use Facebook a lot. They use our community a lot. They're posting their wins. They're adding value. They're communicating. They're jumping on calls with other people. They're sending us messages saying, hey, Joe, I saw one of your reels. I really like XYZ, what you said. They paid me a compliment. Now I'm more inclined to speak to them. Yeah. How about if we jump on a call to get to know each other? Great. People that I don't message back are people that just say, hey, Joe, I'm a setter. I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't reply to those people. It's so easy. Just give me a compliment. Everyone likes a compliment, right? And it's the same with business owners. If you're looking for job opportunities, reach out through 4 or 5 different social media channels and just pay them compliments. Once they reply, oh, by the way, yep, can we jump on a call? How can I add value? And then that's the easiest way to land jobs.
Okay. I like that. By the way, before I forget, I'm certain that this is on everybody's mind. You said it's unlimited how much money you can make. However, what is realistic? For example, let's say that somebody was an SDR for a couple of years. They transitioned into a setter role. How much could this person potentially make?
The average closer makes 10 grand a month. There's a whole magical number in the industry, which is like 10 grand.
10K, yeah.
That's the magical number. It's 10 grand a month for a closer and a setter.
Mm-hmm.
When I say unlimited, it's depending on what you sell. So for example, we have a couple of deals we're working on at the moment. We have a $3.7 million deal. We have another deal, which if this does go through, it's $21 million. And we're also working on a $50 million fund at the moment. So are those deals a one call close?
Of course not.
It's taken us 9 months to finally get the $3.7 million deal over the line, right? But again, the commissions are crazy high. So it's about building up the pipeline. This is more in like investor type acquisitions, but it's a stepping stone. So first you start with the B2B, you work your way through coaching programs, fitness offers, and then you eventually go on to higher tickets done for you. Investments, you have your trading algos, and bit by bit, you can find higher deals. But like I said, some people shouldn't be dealing with the $3 million deals or the $20 million deals or the $200 million deals because maybe it's just not their personality. Maybe they're just happy with making 10, 20 grand a month. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people that do foul is they're never happy and they're always trying to find something that's going to make them happy. So it's like, what will make you happy and how can that be your baseline? So just keep on progressing from there.
I like that thought process. So what kind of deals are we talking about here? Are these like investment deals? Are these like, I don't know, M&A deals where you guys are like somebody's buying a business and then you're getting investors to participate in that purchase? Is that what we're talking about?
So with the multi-million-dollar deals, it's acquisitions. So it's buying and selling online businesses. It could be e-commerce, it could be SaaS, it could be marketing agencies or any sort of agency. At the moment, the $3.7 million deal, it's Minecraft server. So we're now massively getting into the gaming world where there's stupid amounts of money to be made by Fortnite maps, Minecraft. We have an array of different opportunities in the gaming world. So that's something we're massively getting into now. And there's, we have Snapchat portals. It's insane.
Oh, okay. I love that. That's really awesome. Personally, I haven't come across the concept of high ticket closing, at least in the way that you just described. And I just recently, like maybe a few months ago, 6 months ago, something like that, I came across this concept and I went down the rabbit hole. I was really curious. And so I jumped on one of the job postings, whatever. Hey, whatever. It's like 5K, 10K a month, all that crazy stuff. And it turned out to actually be a legit offer. It was like high ticket coaching for business professionals and like business owners, something like that. And I pulled out from the job, but I was really curious. And so I got a script and I went through the script. I actually learned the script and I practiced it a little bit. And so I think that is the biggest difference compared to what I do and in the industry that I've been in, which is like this SaaS tech sales, higher ticket, like mid-market enterprise type of sales, where the script that I saw, it was a B2C product. And so the script was like attacking the masculinity of guys. It was like, do you really want to look like that? And it was basically like, do you really want to, I don't know, are you satisfied with your financials? Do you think you can afford a life for your family, etc.? I felt a little bit like slimy. I don't know. But I guess somebody who can deliver that and actually cares about the prospect, I think can help people. But I think that part is the biggest difference compared to because like my sales calls don't look like that. Like my sales calls are like understanding what the business needs. And so I was really curious, what is your experience with B2B offers? What kind of B2B offers are we talking about? And you mentioned SaaS. Maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe this works perfectly well with SaaS as well. I'm just curious.
You're 100% right. When it comes to B2C, it's very emotional based.
Yeah.
So you want to get involved with their emotions. You want to help them transform their life, get them to realize themselves. So we're not ever telling them what to do. By asking certain questions and following a framework, they're realizing through the questions and the answers they're giving themselves, they're eventually realizing that the problem they thought they had is so much deeper. What do they need to do to get from here back to here? So you're building up a gap. With B2B investor type, it's very logical. It's understanding process. It's understanding what have they tried, what do they need to get to, why do they need to get to that, why can't they do it by themselves, what other things do they need help with that they can't get internally. So it's very logical. But rather than going down the emotional road, you're going down the gap road again. It's not the emotional gap, it's the logical gaps. Okay, so at the moment you are here, the business is here, and it's your responsibility to get the business from here to here. However, you've tried everything possible, and at this moment in time, you've plateaued. So what do you feel like you need to do now, which is your responsibility, to take the lead, being the leader of your team, to get your business to the next level? What do you feel like you need to do? So you're then putting it on them, but it's the logical step. And then you can go slightly emotional, Whereas, and then once you do get the business to succeed, future pace, what would that look like for the company? What would that look like for you? How would that change your role? How would that help you personally, professionally? It give me more time. It give me more money. So we're always figuring out what that would look like once you get the solution and then work on that. But it's more logical.
I would 100%. I agree with you. And I've been trying out Alex Hormozzi's Closer framework. I like it. I think all of these frameworks are extremely useful because it just gives you a playbook, basically what to say and what answers to trigger and whatever. And so it actually came down to getting them to admit to, like you said, a gap, a deficiency of some sort. And then I think the emotional part is a lot easier to implement because we've stepped over that logical piece. We have commitment on the call from the person who we're talking with. And now it gets emotional, meaning like how are they're going to feel about what we're going to do for them, etc. Anyway, so that was an amazing answer. I love it. But I think that's bothering me. And I want the community to take away from this is it seems like there are some scammy job adverts for high ticket closing where people get not necessarily scammed, but it's like an empty offer. And then even they might get scammed. Some people ask from them to deposit, whatever. And how do you avoid that? Obviously, there are communities like yours, and I can assume you guys vet the people who are posting job opportunities. But how does someone actually see through a potential scam, and how often are those scams actually? Can we actually find good offers more than we can find scams?
First of all, any business that's asking you for money up front, do not do it. Okay. Do not do it. There's no reason why you need to spend your own money to get onto an offer and then provide you leads. I've never heard of that unless it's someone saying, hey, invest into my course. I'm going to teach you how to sell, and then I'm going to get you a job. Even still, they can't guarantee that. Mm-hmm. Any coach, any sales coach out there that says, hey, I guarantee that I'll find you a job. What if you've been through their program and you didn't implement too much, you didn't understand much? It's impossible. The other thing as well is when you are going to apply, ask for the funnel, go through the funnel. If it's an existing offer, maybe even book like a mystery call. Figure out what they're doing. Look into the company. Maybe you can reach out to one of the closers that's on there. Maybe you can look at the reviews if it's a legit business. But do your research. And when you do get on the offer, there's a list of questions you should ask. And these are the questions that I mentioned before. It's like, how long have they been in business? How much are they making? What's the close rate? What's the show rate? If they don't know their numbers, they're like, oh, I don't know. Hazard.
I see.
A business owner needs to know their numbers in order to be able to be successful. There are some that they think just by hiring a closer is going to completely magically change their whole business, and they're going to be making $1 million a month without having a system.
Yeah.
So it's important to actually qualify them more than they're qualifying you. So whenever I've actually gone on interviews in the past, I never look at it as an interview. I jump on and I am the one interviewing. Why should I work for you? What do your systems look like? Talk to me about it, and just have a general conversation on their business. And then it just turns into a normal conversation. Okay, fine. Let's give it a try.
That's really cool. And that's very useful. And thank you for that. Now, I know that you have the agency side of things and you have the community side of things and obviously the M&A side of things. And on the agency side, is that what you are actually helping these business owners with? Meaning setting up systems, figuring out their actual offer, meaning like how to get these leads on a call and then implementing the process with setters and
Correct.
Closer. Is that also a commission-based type of thing? Or do these businesses actually have to pay something up front, like a, I don't know, commitment fee, whatever? How does that look like?
Yeah, so there's a retainer, plus there's commissions.
Got it.
So the reason why we ask for a retainer up front is because there's a lot of work that goes in beforehand.
Exactly.
And then once the sales start coming in, we also get a percentage of revenue. So we come in as revenue partners.
Nice.
But then what we do, we look at the whole ecosystem. We're like, okay, we need to have a conversation with marketing because the messaging isn't working too well. It's too salesy, or the marketing guy knows how to run ads, but they're not really a marketer. And I think a lot of people get confused with this. Just because someone says they have a marketing agency or they're a media buyer doesn't mean they're good at messaging. Media buyers are someone that buys ads.
Yep.
Marketing agencies should know sales language, tonality. That should then flow through the whole sales process and just be congruent. And 90% of the times, in fact, it's 98% of the times, which is a very high number, there's a massive disconnect between the sales and the marketing, the language, the funnels, the follow-up messages, the homework that's sent out before someone jumps on a call. So what we do is we have a whole system where we first understand what they're doing, how can we fix it, and slowly start implementing the right pillars. So all of a sudden you have a complete chain rather than a chain that's just broken and it just doesn't go to the next stage. So then we implement the sales manager, a team leader, we do closers, setters, and we also work with marketing agencies if they're not happy with the ones that they have. And this is one of the biggest things. We know how to communicate with the business owners. Mm-hmm. This is something that they don't teach, but through the whole experience that we had, we need to set the right expectations. I think a lot of businesses, what they do, they're like, yeah, I can help you. Let's get signed up. Let's get going. They don't set any expectations. And then the business owner is, pain in the ass. So you need to understand how to set those right expectations, what's going to happen, how we're going to be able to communicate. When things need to be changed, we explain the reasons why. And the majority of the time, the biggest bottleneck in any business is the business owner.
100%. My experience, obviously, I haven't done nearly the things that you've mentioned, but my experience has shown that as well, which is business owners start with an idea, right? They start with, they want to change something. They maybe have experience in something, and then they expand from there. But they usually lack some processes, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, and it's usually both. And so I love the fact you basically take over the role as their like revenue function, where you correct them, make sure that marketing is actually working well, and then you implement your sales process with setters and closers, and then you make it work, which then makes sense to have a retainer, and then you collect a piece of revenue. And by the way, regarding that revenue, are we talking about, let's say the closer is making, 10%, and then the setter is making 5%, and I can assume the company is taking an additional, like 5, 10, 15%. That's how it works?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, awesome. And I can assume the business owners are even cool with that, because instead of making, $250,000, they're making $1.5 million, and it really changed. I don't know what are the scales. Do you have any criteria?
So there's two levels. The first level are people that are just starting. They have a good offer. They've had offers in the past, so it's not new to them. So we generally tell them, so within the first couple of months, we can scale to 200,000, from 0 to 200. People that are on 200 plus, we can help them scale from 200 to $1 million within 5 to 6 months.
I love that.
Just by changing a few processes, getting the right closers, getting the right setters, building a culture. And I think having the right culture is so underestimated in businesses, and having the right team leader, having the right person that will actually guide people through. Because sometimes if you're not making the money you want, but you're happy where you are, people don't tend to go and look for something else. If you're making 10, 20, 30 grand a month, some people are just happy being that way. They're getting respect from the job. They're being understood. And that's what people want. They want to have a community as such.
Exactly. And that amount of money is probably an awesome amount of money for anyone in the world, regardless of where they are, right? We're talking $20,000 a month. That's somebody's yearly salary. And so that makes a huge difference. One more question. So do you come across problems, or rather, because like going from 0 to 200,000 a year, right? It creates, so for example, you're taking somebody who has very little delivery to a lot of delivery. And I can assume that happens similarly from 200,000 to 5xing that to $1 million. You have 5x the amount of delivery that you need to do. And so does that process break sometimes? What happens to the business? Like maybe there's a reason why they're not scaling beyond those 200,000. So what happens to the business when you literally blast it in 6 months with 5x more business where they have to deliver? Like what happens?
And it's part of the process that we do with the onboarding. And it also comes down to their fulfillment team. And this has happened in the past when we first started, is we brought on too many clients so they couldn't handle it. So then they stopped the ads for 2 months. Closers didn't have any job. Then they had to restart the ads. It took some time to build. So one of the main core things that we do is, what is the max capacity you can do now with the fulfillment that you have. And then we work out how much the ads would cost so we don't go over a certain amount, and we can grow the onboarding and the fulfillment team the right way. Ideally, if someone is very limited with like the other day, we had a call with an agency, a marketing agency. They can only take 10 clients on a month, and they can't really scale that fast. So unfortunately, we can't help them. But it's the ones that want to scale that can fulfill, then absolutely.
And do you have a lower ticket product for agencies like that, for example, or businesses that kind of can't, not that they can't afford your services, but they can't afford to get so much business and they need to grow slower? Do you have an offer for them as well?
Do you know what? I love it. It's almost like it's planned that you ask me this. Guys, for those, like, I've literally just met Stefan, but yes, we're launching that next month.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. We get a lot of businesses coming to us and we want to help everyone, but we can't.
I can imagine.
So we're actually building up a platform. This is the done with you. Go ahead, do it. When you get to a certain size, either go ahead and run it yourself, or how much work it is, and we'll take it over.
Awesome. So is that going to be like a coaching thing or a course or
it'll be a course?
A course? Awesome.
It'll be a course, correct. A community course, yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Look, I'm fairly familiar with this, so it was just logical that you guys would have an offer like that. No, dude, I enjoy this conversation so much. I usually talk
Likewise.
with different types of people, and this is a little bit different. And so I think I asked you everything that I wanted. If I didn't, like, I know where to find you, but this was really insightful. And before I let you go, maybe you can send a message, because this audience is predominantly SDRs, BDRs, people who might want to become ones. And then maybe we have a few like business owners here and there, sales leaders who are in the tech industry. So, what would be a message that you would want to send to these people?
There is no right way of doing things. There's just different ways. So it just really depends on how you want to live your life. I know there's some people that are happy going to an office, working a 9 to 5, getting a base salary. If that's you, stay like that. Don't change. If you're someone that wants to be able to work remote, live remote, travel and work at the same time, then there's ways to jump into being a closer or a setter on high ticket offers. But remember, it's commission based only. There are a few places where you may get a small little base, but it's very rare to find a base as a setter. As a closer, there's never any base. So again, if you are comfortable and you want to take those risks, then there is that jump. But if you're one of these people that are very comfortable with a base salary, don't do the jump. Simple as that.
I love that. That's amazing, man. Look, I could probably talk to you for another couple of hours, but I have to be cognizant of the time here. And again, I really appreciate you coming on. It was a really inspiring story, and to learn like your background. And this was a pleasure. I really hope we can keep doing this and collaborating maybe to a more complex.
I would like that for sure. I think there's a lot of things we can do together.
Agreed. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. Joel, it was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon.
See you later, guys. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it.